Why is Canada changing its posture related to Khalistan diaspora activism? Why 3 individuals' arrest in Ontario is important for India in terms of security and anti-terror stance? And is this a new beginning of India-Canada relationship? Hello everyone, welcome to Vajram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh and today we are going to understand that how we are seeing that India and Canada relations are bolstering back again and what it means for India. So let us start with the evidence or the incident that has shown that how India and Canada are coming back together. So there has been an arrest in Ontario on a traffic signal and it included 3 individuals. They were arrested because of the possession of arms and using these firearms for wrongful purposes. But this is not the significance. Significance is the fact the individuals which were arrested, they were associated to Khalistani extremist movement that has been going on in Canada. If we talk about the significance here, it is majorly about post Hardeep Singh Nijjar assassination that took place back in 2023. The one of the individuals who has been arrested is the key organizer of 6 for Justice movement, which is pin-centered, especially in North America. So when we are talking about the movement of Canada towards India, this has come just after when our National Security Advisor Ajit Doval met his counterpart from Canada in Delhi and discussed that how anti-India terror stance, especially in Canada, needs to be addressed. This is the evidence that has come from Canada. This is a step that has come in from Canada. And that is why this holds a lot of diplomatic significance, as this shows that Canada's shift, especially from a permissive stance that was given to the activism in the country. इससे पहले कनाडा जो था उसका थोड़ा सा ओपन स्टैंस था, यहाँ पर फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच एंड एक्सप्रेशन के तहत जो एक्टिविज्म को काफ़ी बढ़ावा दे रहा था, बट यहाँ पे कनाडा ने अपना पोस्चर चेंज किया है और लीगल नॉर्म्स को इन्फोर्स करने पे फोकस किया है, स्पेशली विद रेफरेंस टू एक्सट्रीमिज्म. So we are seeing a switch of stance which was very much required as for India when they were talking about bilateral relations between these countries. And the diplomatic significance apart from that it comes just after the national security, bilateral security discussions that took place between our National Security Advisor and his counterpart from Canada. And the idea of this bilateral talk was that how effectively diplomacy can be used with intelligence sharing to address anti-India stance. And this is coming as a highlight because this shows that if intelligence sharing and diplomacy is combined, it can help countries to address extremism that is seen related to diasporas. It can help countries to address other concerns as well, such as terrorism, drug rackets, etc. etc. So this is a good pointer that has come amidst the recent changes that we have been seeing in India-Canada relations. So if we talk about the recent changes, which we can also understand that the ice is breaking, especially since the strained relationships that we have seen between them since 2023. And how we are seeing this change? We are seeing this change through the PM meeting that happened during the G7 summit that recently took place. It was our Prime Minister Modi and PM Carney who had a meeting and they emphasized on the partnership for clean energy, artificial intelligence cooperation, and also an important point that helped them to come back to the table is the counterterrorism and also global security coordination. This is not the only diplomatic engagement that has been had. NSAs have met from both of the countries. Apart from that, we are expecting another visit from the finance minister to our country, which shows the high level engagement that Canada and India both are focusing on after the rough patch they have seen in between. Other than that, diplomatic appointments have been done. These were taken away, they were paused. We are seeing that diplomatic appointments have been made again. We are having Christopher Scooter, who has been appointed as Canada's High Commissioner to India, and this clearly signals that Canada is also very much on the table to engage with India, and also recognizes that India is a partner which will stay with them, which will offer them strategic benefits, and also it can become an anchor in the chaotic world that lies in front of us. Furthermore, the key highlights would be of this cooperation. First would be security and legal cooperation, because if we talk about the security angle, that has been the core of the issue itself. So when we are talking about security angle, the first has been arrest of Khalistani operatives, and this is a concrete evidence that okay, Canada is ready for counter-terrorism collaboration. India is also providing intelligent dossiers which will help Canada authorities so that they can take proper legal actions. And this is a showcase of balance between democratic freedoms that Canada wants to give it to the people there, but law enforcement imperatives which are very much required, not just for national security but international relations as well. Another factor that will come in when we are talking about cooperation will be about economic and cultural dimension here. So India and Canada, another focal point where they can cooperate and build their ties would be especially strengthening their trade ties, be it pulses, edible oils, and technology cooperation that we are talking. So such information becomes important from the perspective of your exam. We'll be dealing with a prelims question in the end as well. And when we are talking about cultural dimension, the most important point here is the diaspora itself, because there are cultural as well as diaspora links across the major centers in the Canada, and they will help not just in bilateral understanding, but they will be the points where trade diplomacy can be functional and it can be extended as well. Now, as much as at the global platform, India and Canada coming back together in terms of bilateral ties, in terms of diplomatic engagements is a good news, but at the same time, the road ahead is patchy and we have to understand the goods and bads that lie ahead. So let us look into the implications here. So first implication that we have to consider, we will be basing it on the advantages or the cooperation that we were talking about. Let's start with strategic takeaways. So when we are talking about strategic takeaways, the first factor that comes in is trust. When we are talking about trust building, both of the parties should be agreed on the non-negotiables, and for India, it was security. So bilateral trust is restored and the confidence is here, especially since we saw a rough patch after Hardeep Singh Nijjar's assassination, Canada accusing India, and the fallout that happened after that. Apart from that, any sort of transnational threats, they will also be addressed. That means any extremism which is linked to diaspora, we are talking about the Indian diaspora that is present in Canada, addressing such type of extremism will definitely require countries to come together and cooperate. Apart from that, that cooperation will not come in just in terms of talks. They will need proper backing in terms of intelligence sharing as well as legal enforcement. और ये जो है यहाँ पर कनाडा ने इस वक्त दोनों इंश्योर किया, और ये अरेस्ट जो है उसी का एविडेंस है कि that they are on the table to build the trust also and address the transnational threats that exist as well. So this has helped India to address the anti-national stance that exists in Canada especially. And second, the legal enforcement part, which will curb such extremism, will also be addressed. So the mutual trust has come back. Second, it is also setting a global precedent in the case that how two countries can cooperate and bring intelligence sharing combined with trade diplomacy to address any kind of diaspora activism or security concerns that exist. And this is a prime example which will ensure regional as well as global stability. Because India and Canada coming together in terms of efforts, especially for security contribution, helps in addressing broader counter-terrorism issues, extremism issues related to diaspora, and global security objectives as well. Now let us look at a question for practice. when we are talking about these implications, certain challenges that can be associated with them. First, legal constraints. When we are talking about legal enforcement, it does not mean whether arrests are equivalent to the conviction, and that part needs a balanced handling, and the answer we will get to see in coming time. Furthermore, the diaspora which is present, we can see a backlash because this action by Canadian authorities can be about suppressing political dissent, and it can cost Canada and the state in different terms as well. Furthermore, the final challenge would be to keep the diplomatic engagement, keep the bilateral trust, especially in areas such as trade, defense, technology, despite if there are certain setbacks, even if in security cooperation. So the idea is to balance it out, especially in the long term, and that will happen only if high level diplomacy, proper credible intelligence sharing, and that will lead to threat management. This will demonstrate India's soft power leverage, that how India is ready to come on the table, discuss, talk and cooperate when it comes to addressing the issues. And at this point, let us look at a practice question here. So let us see this question. Consider the following statements regarding India-Canada relation. I have given you 3 statements here, and the question is asking which of the statements given above are correct. Now let me know the answer in the comment section. That was a practice question, so that you have a clarity that whatever topic that you are doing, what kind of questions that can emerge out of such topics. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.